Augusta, Georgia, best known for tiny holes and even tinier balls. But did you know that back in the 1800s, Augusta was actually nicknamed the Lull of the South? That's a direct link to Massachusetts and its massive textile boom. You see, the North might have hated what the Southerners were doing, but they couldn't hate their cotton. They needed it to make money. Funny how that works, huh? So, what infrastructure in Augusta was the North relying on to spin all that cotton? This, the Sibley cotton mill, right off the Augusta Channel, which, by the way, is the only intact southern industrial canal still in use today. Just like many other pre-existing structures, it's said that the Sibley mill was built on the very site of the former Confederate powder works. See that battlement tower there? Yeah, that's all that remains of it. In fact, every single brick used to build the Sibley mill was salvaged from that Confederate infrastructure. How many times do we have to hear that layup? Named after the cotton broker, businessman, and civic leader Josiah Sibley, its construction began June of 1880, then was completed in February of 1882. After the fourth story was added, because, well, they needed that fourth story, dang it. In today's dollars, this cotton mill would have cost almost $25 million, which sounds like the most ridiculous part of this story until you hear Josiah Sibley's son's name, which was William Crapon Sibley. Crapon, C-R-A-P-O-N, Sibley, who was made president of the manufacturing company. The year after its completion, the mill was producing around 2 million pounds of cotton, increasing to almost 9 million in 1894. The Augusta Canal that the mill is off of was built as a source of water power and transportation for the city. Its first 9 miles were cut between 1845 and 1846, and within a couple years, 3 mills had sprung up along the waterway. One of the 3 mills was the Enterprise, which opened in 1848. Don't these look like they should be part of a medieval castle or something? Like that's where the court and higher societies lived when the scrubs were across the river or across the canal? I mean, really? A cotton mill? By the Civil War, Augusta was one of the South's few industrial centers, convincing Colonel George W. Rains to plant the Confederate Powder Works here, which was 28 government buildings stretching 2 miles along the water. With gunpowder, munitions shops, and other war factories clustered on its banks, Augusta became the Confederacy's secret arsenal. So you're telling me that all of that was supposedly built from scratch? And listen to this, Colonel Rains chose the site for the 2-mile infrastructure in July of 1861. Just 9 months later, by April 1862, and then continuing through April 1865, 3 years, that plant churned out nearly 3 million pounds of gunpowder. It's also stated that all the churches within the city willingly gave up their bells to be cast into cannons. But we all know why that happened. Oddly enough, with such a title as the Secret Arsenal, Augusta was never burned or systematically shelled. It emerged from the war physically intact. In fact, its population by 1865 doubled. So the city that supplied the South with all their ammunition was left alone? They say Sherman cut off their supply lines and didn't want to spend time destroying Augusta because he needed to make it to the Atlantic coast quickly. But if you're the North looking ahead to a post-war economy, a reconstruction period, why destroy a perfectly good industrial hub? Why raise the very infrastructure, the canals, the mills, the established power centers that could be repurposed, then rebranded? This wasn't new construction, guys. This wasn't a sudden rise from the ashes. This was pre-existing infrastructure, a prize too valuable to burn. And that, my friends, is a story they don't tell you on the golf course. Love y'all, and have a good day.